No cap, 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 cap. Like this.
Got a question. What's the exercise of the day? What was the exercise of the day?
Exercise of the day. I mean, well, we have a top 10 recommended um, full body functional list that we operate off of. But I would say the exercise of the day today with that we did or that I would give people today, I would uh I would say let's go with something that everybody can do because I don't know everybody health status and I don't want nobody trying to this ain't no challenge. I don't want you to take it like, oh, the challenge because people be sending me, don't send me no challenges. I hate that. Don't be sending me them TikTok challenges. Don't tell me about them. I don't care. That don't mean nothing to me. But a basic exercise of the day that everybody can do. Let's just say uh 10 to 20 minutes of uh aerobic exercise. And what that is something like walking, swimming, aerobic meaning that oxygen is present and you can hold a conversation like you and I are holding a conversation while still doing the exercise. And aerobic exercise is good just to have for general population. Your body is made to move. So doing some type of aerobic exercise that gets you moving where you can still have a conversation, like going for a walk, even walking on a treadmill, going for a swim. There's a list, but I would say I would instead of just a specific one, what you're capable of doing that's aerobic, get, at least 20 minutes if you can. But I know everybody got 10 minutes. So 10 minutes a day of some aerobic exercise and then increase it up until you get to 30 minutes, 45 minutes. That's the exercise of the day. Aerobic exercise, walking, swimming.
It does include the stretching. Because what's the stretch then? Because I was hoping you were just gonna say do a stretch, but you went
I
with the
was
20-minute walk.
I was going to say a stretch at first, actually. So you're
You should
right.
have went with a stretch, something.
Yoga would be aerobic in a sense, but I could give you a stretch. Here's a great stretch so I have a couple stretches I do every day. And one of them is called the child's pose stretch. A lot of people know what the child's pose stretch is. So that's the exercise of the day. There you go. Nice, easy, and simple. Child's pose stretch. Um, and you can do 1 to 3 rounds to start your day, depending on how much time you got. And then you can also stretch or foam roll at the end of
What
the
what
day.
what 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 is the child's pose stretch? I ain't never heard of that.
So the child's pose stretch is basically a stretch where you get on all fours. Most
Hmm.
people know what it is, but it's a stretch where you get on all fours and then you extend your hands out. If you're on a yoga mat, how I usually
Like the
coach it is,
downward dog.
but no. So you get on all fours and then you extend your hands out until your hands go in one direction, reaching all the way out, while you
Hmm.
bring your stomach as close as you can to your knees, and you bring your butt as close as you can to your heels. So you're literally in a downward dog, you're on your hands and feet. But when you are in a child's pose, you're on your both knees and then you sink your hips back while you reach the opposite way. So you're
So
trying to reach,
my
you're
stomach hurt.
reaching, you're reaching this way while you're sinking your hips down towards your heels and your knees are on the ground.
Like when your
And
stomach
then
used to hurt when you was a kid. Remember when
mm,
you was a kid and your stomach would hurt and you'd be sleeping on your stomach, kind of.
yeah, that's that. Well, what you just did is exactly it. So you reach
Got
out
you.
and your knees are bent and you drop your butt to your heels. Now, depending on your uh, flexibility and range of motion, you may not be able to get your butt to touch your heels, but that's the goal, is to sink your in the basic, because there's always different ways to do it. But the basic child's pose stretch, that's it. One of my other stretches that I do is the seated hurdler stretch for the hamstrings. These two stretches, I don't leave the house without doing them. The seated hurdler stretch is one leg back, one leg forward. Picture like you see people jumping over a hurdle, but you're sitting on your butt in that hurdle position, opposite hand to the opposite foot. So if my left leg is forward, I'm reaching across with my right side. And again, you want to not just try to reach forward, but you're sinking your stomach down towards your knees, down towards your quads while you reach for your toes. If you can't touch your toes, it's all good, but you'll feel a stretch in your hamstring. So the seated hurdler stretch is another good one.
How would that work for? Because like for me, I try to do you know, I try to throw this leg over and do the stretch where you stretch all the way over here. And this leg,
Mm-hmm.
the right leg can come all the way over and it's a good stretch. Feel like I'm getting that stretch. But the left leg, it don't work that well. It goes over, but it don't want to go down. So I start pulling at it to try to, I be kind of listening for a pop to see if I can get a little pop because it's like I don't get all that motion. What you recommend for
Yeah.
that?
So this is why when you asked about the exercise of the day, I was very thoughtful in my answer. And this is why, because people have different levels of flexibility, range of motion, and just the ability to where they are with their health and fitness. But also, each side of your body can be different. You can have more strength on one side or more range of motion on another side. It could be from work-related movement patterns. For a lot of people, that's the case. It can also be how people sleep. It could be from improper posture when sitting. It could be a whole bunch of things that changes. So what we do is called asymmetrical training. We focus on basically dissecting the body down the middle, and you got a right side, you got a left side. It doesn't really matter which side is your dominant side. We want to make sure that each side is training individually. So for somebody like yourself, if you have one side that's not allowing you the same range of motion as the other side, I'm about to give you some real free game right here. One of the cues when I'm working with somebody, because I specialize in corrective exercise, is that what I want you to do is focus on, all right, so put it like this. Most of the time, you already know when you go to reach which across your right side, you're like, oh, this side gonna be cool. So your mind automatically goes to what's not going to be cool, which is when you switch and go to your left side.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm saying is your mind starts to focus on, man, this side, I'm not gonna be able to pull it over. I need to pop it or something. That becomes the focus. And most of the time, you probably start with your good side. You know what I mean? And then you can see, man, this side don't ever come over. So that becomes the focus. But see, the mind controls everything, right? So how you think about what your body's going to do affects it as much as the body itself, if not more. So what I tell people is this: I want you to focus on what you're actually doing on your right side, connect with it, see what it feels like. Because instead of focusing on that, people just automatically go on autopilot. But if you take some time and be like, oh, when I pull this side over, I'm actually, my hips is level. And when I pull this side over, oh, I can feel this right here. And then I want you to take that successful connection that you have there to the best of your ability, replicate that on the opposite side, the weak side. Because what's really going on is the signal from the mind to the muscle is weak. And the weaker that signal is, it could be from an injury, it can be from an imbalance, but the signal gets weak. And the weaker that signal gets, the more difficult it becomes to perform that activity. So if you take that confident signal from this side and apply it to that side, you just gave yourself a better chance to replicate on this weak side a progression more like the stronger side. So that would be the first thing I would say to do. Don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do and make a strong mind and muscle connection with that side, and then be equally confident over here, and you'll discover something immediately. You'll be like, oh, I'm rotating my hips up. And you might sit your hip down and stop overcompensating, and immediately you might get more range of motion and be like, oh, okay. Sometimes it's just, for lack of a better term, it's as simple as that. What you're actually focusing on. So that would be my first cue. Do it. Be mindful of what you're doing successfully on one side, on the strong side, and then replicate that to the best of your ability on the weak side. And you'll more than likely you'll see an instant progression.
Good business. Good business. Good business. That was something new. See, exercise of the day. Look.
Exercise of the day.